I don't know if you've ever had the fantasy of like, you know what? I'm gonna quit it all. I'm gonna go to Europe. And I'm gonna open a coffee shop.
Oh, coffee shop's yours. I have this conversation a lot.
Yeah.
Mine is baker.
Yes.
Early morning baker. And we're here where you did the show last night at the Rickshaw
Yeah.
in Vancouver. How did the show go?
It went great. Yeah, it
Yeah.
was super fun. Like, I played here like a year and a half ago. I opened for the Hives with the Aubreys, my other band, which is really fun. And it was really funny because I like Vancouver is one of my favorite places to play because it's obviously my hometown, but also it's a more subdued crowd, I would say. Like,
Really?
I would say so. Like, out of like the Canadian cities, I mean, like, at least in the Hive show, I saw them they were trying really hard to get the audience to like go crazy, and by the end of it, it was like amazing. They cracked Vancouver open.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I've heard that before.
Yeah.
It can be a tough town.
Yeah.
How was the crowd last night?
The first half was sort of, I think, a little more kind of people were trying to get a little more comfortable. I was trying to get more comfortable. By the half, it felt great though. It felt like I felt very like everyone was having a really good time.
Is it meaningful to play here?
Yeah, very, because you know, for me, like, it was always a really frustrating thing as a teenager to be into music in Vancouver and not be able to go to any of the shows because everything was 19 plus.
Yeah.
Now there's like amazing DIY venues that are all ages here. There's this amazing venue called Green Auto that like really cool people come in and play, and it's all ages. And you know, I wish I would have had that space when I was 16 or 17. But yeah, I mean, it was only 19 plus for a long time.
Oh, so when you were coming up, there wasn't a whole like a big all ages scene for you
No,
to go
not
to.
at all. I would have to go to Seattle or Bellingham in order to go see bands.
And would you do that?
Yeah, all the time.
Man, you were a kid going to these shows.
Yeah, my dad would take me to these shows. Because we both had that shared sense of, you know, whatever. We both loved that genre of music, so it was easy.
Music is sort of the thread throughout your whole life. You know, I was
Mm-hmm.
doing research for this. What's really cool is that I think for a lot of people who are in a big famous show, the show ends and then, you know, oh, maybe I'll start music now. But it's been a constant presence throughout your whole life. I was trying to figure out where it began, and I saw that it was the Beatles record "Help," which is, if you don't mind me saying so, also my favorite Beatles record.
Oh yeah, me too.
It has my favorite Beatles song on it.
What is it?
Which is "The Night Before."
Oh yeah, it's a great song.
It's a deep cut.
Yeah.
It's a great song. Can you put me where you were when you heard that for the first time? Do you have some sort of memory around that?
I do. I was in my living room, and
How old around?
I was 6 or 7, and my mom was talking about the Beatles, and I was like, "Who are they?" And she was like, "How? I've never showed you the Beatles before." And I said, "No." And she just put on "Help" the movie, because there was the movie that was, and I remember watching it and being like, these guys are so funny and goofy, and also like their timing was great, and they were good actors, and I loved watching movies at the same time, obviously, and like love filmmaking, and like it blended those two things so deeply also for me at that point. But on top of that, I was obsessed with the music, and so then I think that was the real first chemical like, oh, I have to play this over and over and over and over again.
Was it the full record over and over again? Was
Yeah.
it specific songs over and over and
It
over
was
again?
"Help." It was "You're Gonna Lose That Girl."
Great song.
Yeah, I mean the first half of that record I think was really huge for me, and even "I Need You," like "I Need You" is also the best.
I was just about to say how much I love "I Need You." George
The, like,
Harrison.
Yeah, the weird like volume pedal stuff where he's like,
Wham.
yeah, so
yeah.
cool. And yeah, after that I just was like, oh, this is like I just was like, okay, music, that is what I like want to do in my life, and like I always wanted to be around. So then I started learning how to play bass first, and switched to guitar, and kind of just started like meeting people in Vancouver, young kids who also were into it, because I went to this great thing that was like a rock school, like School of Rock kind of, where you get together with a bunch of kids your age and kind of do like a crash course on writing songs, and like you get paired up with people, and it's really a great way to like experiment.
What strikes me is that you kept it up fully through the whole Stranger Things run. Like you didn't really dip in and out. You were still putting out records. You were still making a lot of music. And I was trying to figure out why that was, or what that would have meant. And I came across this quote, and I'll paraphrase it, so you might have to help me out.
Yeah.
But it was something along the lines of like, it's something I can control.
Yes.
What does that mean?
My life as an actor is unbelievably like fulfilling and great, and I'm so lucky to have it. But like if you're a kid and that's kind of all what's going on, acting at a certain point is just, being told to stand here and deliver the line, and someone else is kind of controlling your creative kind of aspirations, and in a way, like in the end, it's what the director wants, and it's what the film, it's what calls for in what it calls for in the story.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's not your thing. It's not your you try to put your own personal spin on it and stuff, but sometimes it just feels maybe not as fulfilling or whatever. Whereas music is like, this is 100% mine. Like I own this and can kind of control it however I want. I can put out records whenever I want, and I can, I guess it was just a way of kind of like establishing some kind of freedom in an industry that is very easy. Like if you're an actor, and you're able to be in projects back to back and be working a lot.
Yeah.
It's helpful to have something where you can kind of put yourself into it.
What strikes me is that how young you were when everything happened, how fast everything happened, that it must have been a bit unmooring, like it must have been a bit overwhelming. I would have thought that music might have been an anchor for you when things might have felt a bit out of control.
I think that is true too. I think that like my whole like upbringing, I mean, you could, if you ask me my friends, like there's like a running joke with some of my friends that I'll just like walk around my house with a guitar because like it's just something for me to do. Like I'm like a pretty nervous guy, and so for me, playing guitar or any of that stuff does alleviate a lot of stress, because it just is.
Yeah.
It's like, I think of it as like it's something creative. It's something that comes out and gets me out of my head, maybe is what it is. Also, music really does get me out of my head because it allows me to, I don't know, there's a technical side to it which I also really enjoy.
Yeah.
That almost feels like I'm, it's like a puzzle or something.
Yeah, and the more you work on it, the better you get at it. Yeah, that's rewarding.
Yeah, and that's rewarding, and so it is a bunch of stuff.
But it's also transcendent, man. Like I know, I mean, I can, am on my end of things. Like it's a lot of moving parts in my life all the time, and a lot of responsibilities, and a lot of interviews to prep for, and a lot of like trying to, a lot of, and I am an anxious person. I have a lot, my mind is racing. I really find it hard to turn my mind off when I go to bed. I'm getting better at it, but I find it really hard. And I play every Sunday in Toronto. I play for 3 hours with my friends, and we play traditional music, and we play fiddle music and all that kind of stuff, just to be cool. And
that's pretty cool.
But I find it 3 hours that that stuff is just gone.
Yeah, it does. That's 100%. I was talking to someone about that the other day, where I was like, maybe the one time where I don't think about anything else is when I'm playing like the piano, because I'm just like fully focused on this one thing. It does offer a lot of relief, because it just is, I don't know. It's hard to honestly like put into words, because I don't really know. Like music has some kind of weird, I'm not like a overly like spiritual or anything like that, but there is like something,
a transcendent nature to it.
Yeah, there's something that's just beyond what I can perceive it to be.
I told you this when you came in. I really love the record.
Thank you, man.
It's just a great collection of songs. Pretty personal record too.
Yeah.
Can we talk about a couple of these songs?
Sure.
Crown. So I'm reading I really love the song. I think you closed last night with it.
Yeah.
I got that from the set list. It's called research.
It's called research.
It's called
I
research.
saw it.
I saw it once. It's the only research I did for this whole interview. I was reading the press release, and there was a line that I didn't really understand when I listened to the song. And I did really love the song, but the press release said something along the lines of like it was inspired by a pirate themed meal at a restaurant in Vancouver.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could hear that fully in the song.
No.
Can you tell me a little bit about the pirate themed kids meal? And how and about the song?
Thematically, what I wanted to tell with that song is like I'm still that kid. Like I'm still that kid from that show. Like I'm still that kid, but like I am now, like I'm older and now my own person kind of. And so there's like lyrics in the song where I say like, if I can still have a bath, can I still have a crown? And that's like basically, you know, talking about like being a kid, and it's a reward. Like you get to go to this restaurant and get this crown or get this pirate hat as like a reward.
Yeah.
For just being a kid, for like bathing and whatever.
Yeah.
And I really was like trying to offset these two themes where it was like I wanted these lyrics that were kind of childlike and talking about nostalgia and talking about being a child, but like with this kind of gnarly, loud song.
There's a juxtaposition there of very grown-up, adult, loud music with saying a very childish thing, which is like, I want to get a bath and I want a treat for it.
Yes, exactly.
What was the restaurant with the pirate hat?
White Spot.
I know about
in
that.
BC.
Why is childhood and am I honest and time and the changing of time on your mind lyrically when you were writing this record?
Actually, I think I missed a lot of some developmental things that like a lot of kids go through, just even by going to like prom or going to like just things that you experience that make you sort of maybe not ask yourself as many questions because you've experienced it, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like I had a normal childhood pretty much, so like you're right, I got to no one was watching me, no one knew who I was. I got to go to prom. We didn't have that great a time, but she didn't miss out on that much. But I got to go to prom, I got to go to house parties, and it was normal.
Yeah, and I was like working.
Yeah,
I went to high school. Like I would go half the year here in Vancouver, and so I was lucky enough to get some kind of normal-ish school life. But just the idea, I mean, the idea that I was really, when I was writing these songs, I think I was newly 18, 19, you know, early 20s. And just basically all these songs is just me asking myself all these questions that I didn't get to ask myself in high school or when I was a kid because I was so focused on working.
Like what? Like what questions, if you don't mind?
Like just like, who am I?
Yeah.
Who am I to people?
Yeah.
Why do I act this way? Why does this person's behavior make me feel like this? You know, why do I have this weird issue? You know, this weird like trust thing. You know, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Things were just starting to pop out of like, especially last year when Stranger Things was ending.
Yeah.
It was just this thing of, because I wrote a lot of it before we started shooting the last season, but I wrote 2 songs while we were filming.
Yeah.
That I just recorded by myself on my 4-track. And I just would walk around my house like that the show was ending because I had just spent all this time on it. This was my childhood. I'm like watching it go, basically. I'm like watching my childhood like flash before my eyes. So I'm walking around my house being like super overwhelmed by all these questions that I had about my just curious things of just like anyone should have, where it's like not everyone should feel super confident in like what they're doing or their job or whatever, or you know, I don't know if you've ever had the fantasy of like, you know what, I'm going to quit it all. I'm going to go to I'm gonna go to Europe and I'm gonna open a coffee shop.
Oh, coffee shop's yours. I have this conversation a lot.
Yeah.
Mine is baker.
Yes.
Early morning baker. Wouldn't it be great? Like I could just go in at like 5 a.m.
Yes.
It's cold outside, but
Totally.
it's warm in there. Vanessa's laughing at me. I go in there and I make bagels, and I don't have to. No one needs any answers from me.
Yes.
And I don't need to prep for anything. I just make bagels every single day.
Yes.
Oh, that's the dream.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah.
No,
That's
and you need that.
Yeah.
Like, and that's also what like informs your work too, and like what makes you motivated, and like that's something that just happens. You have this, but I didn't have that, is what I'm trying to say. Like,
Yeah.
that 9 years, 10 years is like, I never had time to ever have like a mental escape hatch. Like there was like, I think a feeling of like, I felt a little trapped, I think, of like,
Yeah.
this is, oh, okay, I have to do this. This is like tunnel vision. These are the projects I have to do. And like, you know,
Oh man.
so it was like, and again, like,
Hey, gratitude is assumed.
Gratitude's
I
assumed.
often say on the show, we just get that out of the way.
Yeah, yeah.
Gratitude's assumed.
Totally.
Yeah, it's a Canadian show.
Canadian,
The show should be
Canadian
called
show,
Gratitude is Assumed. But in addition to that, there's like, holy shit, I missed out on a lot of stuff.
Totally. Yeah. And so I think that this record does, I think it's just me being like, whoa, like time to ask all these questions. Like, it's kind of how it felt a bit.
Also, so surprising that you got on that show at all.
I-
Or just surprising
Fluke.
that you ended up an actor at all.
Yeah.
Like, because the story I heard is Craigslist.
Yeah.
Were you on Craigslist?
Yeah, so that happened because, so my brother was in an improv class.
Yeah.
My brother's a really funny performer. He's an actor and a voice actor and stuff. He really influenced me because I saw how much fun he was having as a performer. And we were both kind of awkward kids into nerdy stuff.
Yeah,
and
I
like,
know that.
You know, I yeah.
Yeah.
I can.
Sorry. No, I mean for me.
No,
like,
no.
Yeah, no, I wasn't.
No, no.
I spotted it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I got that.
Yeah. Not a lot has
No.
changed, Finn.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I mean.
I get it.
I know what it's like to feel like a little weird guy.
Totally.
And to perform through it. Yeah, I know.
Totally.
Yeah.
And so it was like this thing of, you know, I took little theater camps here in Vancouver, and there were, you know, day camps. There's like a Shakespeare day camp, and just like fun stuff like that. And then I really was interested in filmmaking. Like another thing that I was kind of obsessed with at the time was any of my favorite movies I would watch. We would like collect the Blu-rays and I would watch the special features. I would watch all the bonus features and see like how the movies were made. And I was so struck by, in the same way actually I'm struck by like making music together and making a record. Like I was so struck by when the people that were making the movie or the show got along and that they were all making something together, like that collaborative team.
Yeah.
And I think that was the thing that I was chasing like throughout my childhood, was like I had a small group of friends, and I think the thing that I really was craving was like to, yeah, I don't know, have this like the Goonies style team like that was
be
working
part of the
together.
crew,
Yeah,
be
to be a part of a crew.
Yeah.
Because I was interested in filmmaking and directing. My dad kind of had this idea of just like, well, if you want to know how to, you know, how films are made, like you should just go on to it. We should just try to get onto a set, whether that's background, you know, work or whatever it is, like whatever is comfortable. And then there was an ad, like an open casting call ad for this like these like guys in their early 20s. They were a band in Vancouver. They're an indie band called Facts, who made a really great record. And I was cast to like, I went to like the director's like mom's house in West Van, and he was probably 23 or something, and he kind of just asked me questions about what I thought about the music, and then we just like shot this thing, and it was like this guy and like all these guys in their early 20s that were all in film school just like making this music video, and I was just like watching a team. I was watching like,
oh yeah, you saw the thing you were looking for.
That I was looking for, and I was like, I just was like, this is what I want to be doing all the time.
Yeah.
Like
you got a crew around you.
You got a crew, and everyone's
friends and
yeah. So it's the best. So that was like, and then it was just like, all right, that's what I'm chasing.
And then you were sick for the Stranger Things audition?
Yep.
I read that you did it from, because I was trying to find like, oh, you know, self-taping as a kid in Vancouver. How did that work? But you were in bed? Were you sick?
So I was like, basically I had like I'm one of those weird. I was like one of those weird kids that had like a 10-year plan. Like in my notes, I was like, I was thinking about quitting acting because I felt like at that point I'd like gotten like a local agent, and in Vancouver it's pretty like because so much stuff was filmed here. Like kids would just go on auditions. Like it was open. It was always open, and like kids that I went to school with had commercial agents because it was like, oh, you can go on set and make a bit of money. And whatever.
Yeah.
But I was getting really bummed just about like that. It was a lot of commercial stuff and like people that it just felt like the opposite of what I wanted, which was like a team of people that actually cared.
Yeah.
But it was just like people trying to make like whatever.
Make commercials about Gatorade.
Whatever.
You had to stand there, drink Gatorade by yourself.
Exactly.
And go to a trailer by yourself.
And like no one cared that they were there. It was just like that kind of and I felt that from adults too. Like it was sad. I would walk into audition rooms and I would like be with adults who were like, all right, let's get through this. And I would just be like, oh, I hate this. Like, this is really making me very uncomfortable. So I was like, quitting, but I was still making really dumb sketches with like my friends and like on our iPods, you know, like just making dumb stuff. And I was like, I'm going to film school. I was like, I told my parents, I told everyone in my life, I was like 12. I was like, I'm going to NYU, I'm going to Tisch. And that's going to be my life. I'm going to go.
Your sight's low, by the way. That's so nice. Yeah.
Yeah, very, very low.
Yeah.
Super easy to get into Tisch.
Yeah.
But in my head, I was like, oh yeah, that's just going to happen.
Yeah.
So
that's great, man.
That's what I set my sights high for it. And then I was quitting, and then Stranger Things, like the sides came in, and it was like the synopsis was, you know, group of kids in the 80s. And you know, the friend goes missing. They all band together to try to find their friend. And like, I was like, well, my favorite movies growing up were like Stand By Me and everything that influenced Stranger Things, basically. That was like Goonies, everything. You know, like that was like what it's even like that movie Super 8 was like one of my favorite movies. That was sort of Stranger Things before Stranger Things. And I was like, oh, I think I actually know how to do this. Like, I think I know how to play a character in this kind of genre. It felt very, like, almost tailored in a weird way because I was like, I've been watching 80s movies my whole childhood. This feels like something I could do. But, yeah, I was really sick, and I just kind of didn't care.
Like, you had a cold or something?
Yeah, I had a cold. I didn't care that day. I just was like, whatever. And my dad was like, well, let's do, you know. Mm-hmm. Let's do, like, now. Let's do today. It was a short scene. And my dad was like, do you want, like, we'll just do it. We don't have to send it, but, like, let's just try it and see how you feel. And I was like, okay, whatever. We did it once. And my dad's, like, finger was in the frame, and it was out of focus, and we just sent it. We just were like, oh, whatever. All right, that was pretty good. Let's send it. We sent it, and then I found out after the fact, which is really funny. I found out, like, this year. Because now all this stuff is, you know, because it's the last season, we're all like going back through memories and stuff. Carmen Cuba was the casting director. It was like they had a group chat. And it was just like, she just texted my name in all caps. And then Matt Duffer just said, I know. And then that was it, apparently. It was like they knew from that tape. Which is crazy.
I'm just thinking about how you got what you wanted. Which was maybe not Tisch Film School yet.
No.
You already made a film.
Exactly
so I think
what I
you're
needed.
Good.
Yeah.
You got like of that show, man. Like of that show in particular.
Yeah.
Is nothing but a group of young
an ensemble of people
who get to hang out. And from what I can tell, it is legitimately you guys all seem to get along and hang out. What a gift that you got the thing you wanted.
Yes. It's literally that's why I never am like jaded about the show ever. Like I don't care that I'll be 50 and someone comes up to me and is like, you're the kid. Like, that's great. Like, I'm so proud of that show. Obviously, the only thing that I have in my control is, you know, you obviously need some separation from it, is to like make this record and like do what you can do in your life.
When did it get out of control? Like when did the
like the day after it came out. Like it was like It came out July 15, 2016. I was in Toronto, and I was on Queen Street. I was eating at the Queen Mother.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was
Pad
having
Thai.
pad thai
Yeah.
at the Queen
Yeah.
Mother.
Yeah.
And
Such a Canadian interview at this point. We're talking about the great Pad Thai at the Queen Mother.
Yep.
Shout out. Is that place still open?
Yeah.
Shout out to Pad Thai at the Queen Mother.
Yeah. And then I like walked out, and it was like I saw across the street, I think it's Cops Records.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's there anymore, but
Yeah, I think it is.
But there was a Stranger Things standee. Like it was like a cardboard cutout standee of like the 4 boys on bikes. And I remember being like, huh, like not really knowing how to take it. Like that's really cool. Like that's cool. And then walking on Queen Street and just seeing like one person kind of turn their head and then like another person turn their head. And it was just this thing of like, it just like literally overnight, it was like all of a sudden everyone, not everyone, but like a lot of people it was on Queen Street, people knew who I was.
I mean, you were a baby.
I was 13. So that was like, I mean, I didn't know how to feel about it. Like I don't know where that lives in my body. I don't know where that uncomfortable feeling lives in my body.
I know where it lives. There's a song about it on the record.
Oh yeah, I probably think about it a lot subconsciously.
Well, then, isn't the Eat song?
Yeah.
That song, which is a great song, by the way,
Thank you.
is about anxiety from, I assumed, from that time.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's from, I would say like that song goes like, it's like from 15, like 14, 15, that era.
And to me, it's a vicious cycle because,
Yes.
and I've heard you talk about this, that you get so anxious that you can't eat. And I know this feeling. You get so anxious that you can't eat. I used to go to bed. It wasn't that I couldn't eat. I would just go to bed for a really long time. You get so anxious that you can't eat, but then not eating and not getting energy only makes you more anxious and doesn't let yourself settle down.
Exactly.
Listen, I'll put the boat in the water here and you row it. I'm not here to ask anything. I'm not TMZing you here.
Yeah.
That was something you experienced during that run?
Oh yeah. To be fair, I had really bad anxiety even before the show.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I was like just naturally an anxious kid. I had really bad, like the not wanting to be like separation anxiety.
Yeah.
It kind of snowballed like as, I started growing up, because I also think that I didn't, because it was so distracting, like because I got famous so young and everything is super exciting, you kind of forget, like I said before, it's like you forget to ask yourself these questions, even if just like, are you okay? Or like, is everything fine? And my parents were really good about that, because they would ask me that and I would say, yeah, I'm fine. This is the best. Mm-hmm. Like if you're a kid and people are telling you that you're cool, you're like, yeah, I am cool and nothing is wrong with me.
Yeah.
And nothing ever will ever be wrong with me.
Yeah.
And I have no problems. When subconsciously there's a lot of stuff going on. And yeah, no, I mean from like, I would say I started to get routine, really bad panic attacks when I was probably like 14
I'm
or
so
15.
sorry.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Man, I had them too. And the thing about them is that you don't know the difference between that and actually dying. Like you're not aware. I eventually became aware. You're not aware that you're having a panic attack.
No, you think it's like, it's some weird, like you're in danger.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That sucks. I'm with you. It sucks.
Yeah, no, it does suck. It's like, I'm lucky that I think I maybe have one a year now.
Yeah.
Which I'm like so grateful for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's probably me too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One a year, and I'm like, and then like just a bed of constant chatter anxiety, which I would take. I would have like an all day long panic attack. All day. Go to sleep, wake up the next day, and be fine, and then carry on with my life and be like, everything's totally fine. Nothing's wrong with me. And then like clockwork, it would just keep happening. And then I think actually like I remember one of the first times I had a bad one. It was in Toronto. We were playing the Horseshoe, and we were opening for Colorado. And the first night was 19 plus. And it felt really fun. It was like, getting to prove yourself in front of all these adults and like trying to have a really fun show. And then it was like the next show was all ages. And this was at the point where like the show had just come out and it was kind of like the peak of everything. And I remember walking out on stage and it was like, you know, the Horseshoe's not the biggest room. And when it's like compact, it was all, you know, it was all teenage girls basically who weren't there. It was like the opposite of the night before. It was like people were just there to hear music. The next night it was like people were just there to see me, who I understand. It's like from the show.
Yeah, of course.
It's not something that I'm like, what the hell?
Again, gratitude's assumed.
Gratitude's assumed.
Gotcha.
But I remember walking out on stage and being like the most scared I'd ever been in my entire life, because I was like, oh, like everyone in this room thinks I'm someone, like does think I'm someone else. Like, and now I have to like prove to all these people that I am not whoever they think that I am on the show.
Yeah.
And that I just want to play guitar and music, which is like, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I like signed up for it. But like, it was one of those things I think that at the time was like absolutely terrifying of like, and it was like, you know, it was, people were like, you know, kids were screaming, and it was like, I'd never experienced that before. Like the kind of like.
Beatlesy.
Yeah. Like, yeah, just people not knowing what to do and just screaming. Like, and I would just be like playing a song and people would be screaming over the song, and I would just be like, I didn't know what to do. I just completely froze. And it was just like, I had a total panic. And then...
Did you get through the show?
Yeah. Got through the show. And like, as we played more, it was less like that because people started to realize, you know, that I was not the character.
Man, isn't that just...
That was tough. It was tough for like a few years. But yeah.
Isn't that just the opposite of what you're doing now, though? Not
yes.
to put too fine a point on it,
no,
but
absolutely.
Like, you're walking out on stage quite literally, not thinking, "Oh, everyone thinks I might."
Yeah.
Or everyone, like the way you put it, everyone literally thinks I'm somebody else. The very first thing you do when you do the show again tonight, or when people will see you on the tour, is a screen of "This is who I am. I'm Finn. I'm not that guy."
Yes, exactly.
That's a powerful thing, man.
Yeah. No, I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
How are you? Just we don't got a little bit of time left.
No, yeah.
How are you feeling about the show wrapping and all that?
Honestly, empty nest.
What do you mean?
Empty nesting syndrome. It's like I miss everyone. Like honestly, like it's like you.
Oh yeah, you were around everybody.
Yeah. Like
yeah.
I miss like the day to day. That's like what I miss. I miss talking to everyone every day. I miss, you know, we all lived in the same neighborhood. We all lived like across the street from each other. So every day it was just like, I would text the group chat being like, does anyone want any coffee? Or whatever. And then you go and we'd all hang out in Charlie Heaton's backyard. And like Joe Curie wrote an amazing album during...
Yeah, we just had him
mixing.
On like a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, he like wrote this amazing song about... I like get so emotional every time he plays the song Charlie's Garden, because that's about Charlie's back garden we used to hang out in every single day for a year. Had some of the best times together, and so I'm just gonna miss the people. Obviously, I think the show's gonna be kick-ass. I think people are gonna have a great time. Yeah.
How was your rap day?
I was the last thing shot, so of the show. So it was
really?
Like, yeah. So
you're the last shot of the last scene.
Well, no, it was that we just like wrapped. Like I just was like one of the last. People to film, basically. I was in denial the whole year. I was just like, whatever, like, this is just another year, another season. Let's just like try to have as much fun as we can. And then it was like, okay, month 6, halfway through, because it was a year shoot. It's like, okay, month 6, that's a halfway. We're at the halfway point. Okay, like not, you know, like final table read, final this, final that. Everything's like the final. And then the last day, it was like, I was just kind of totally numb. And then the final scene came up that we shot. And it was like the final, where it was just like, okay, we know that this is it. This is the final thing we're going to film. And it was this thing of like, all of a sudden it was just like everything came into perspective like super fast, and I just was like, it was so otherworldly and weird. It was like being around. I was all around all the cast. A bunch of the cast that was already wrapped stayed, so they were all there for the end. It felt like it wasn't even, it was like honestly like another dimension or something. Like it felt very nice. It felt very like otherworldly. And the last shot, I remember being like, oh, this is it. Oh my God, this is it. This is actually it. And then we finished, and it was like, yeah, super emotional. It was like everyone grew up on that show. Like the Duffer Brothers who created it, you know, were 30 when they started. They're 40 now. So it was just like this huge moment where all of us just got to be together kind of and celebrate and kind of mourn the death of this show kind of.
Since then, this is maybe we'll wrap things with this.
Yeah.
New record's really great. The directorial debut with Hell of a Summer. You were great in the Saturday Night movie, by the
thanks.
way.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting you in that.
Thanks.
You now get to decide more than any other 22-year-old actor exactly what you want to do next. What does a project have to have for you to say yes to it?
I think my friends is one. Like I just want to keep making stuff with people that I like. Like I would love to I just want to keep making stuff. I don't know. I mean, I would love to write. I want to write something about music. I want to direct something about music.
What a dream, man. Like the thing that I'm hearing through this whole conversation is you wanted to do two things when you were like 6 or 10,
yeah.
Which was make stuff and have a crew.
Yeah.
And you really did the tenure. The
10-year goal?
Did it work out?
I think it worked out totally. I think as you as you get into adult, it's like it's also life. It's like even having partnerships with people, like making stuff with friends. Like we just made this such a fun movie about like Canadian stuntmen, like in the kind of in the sticks, set in the early 2000s. Produced with my friend Billy and his brother Dempsey. And even then, like, it was the most fun I've had making a movie. But, you're making it with your friends. Like, sometimes you have disagreements, or sometimes you have whatever, there's things that happen, but that's like part of the process. So I'm kind of ready for all of it, I guess.
I gotta tell you, man, as a Canadian, it's just a great story. I was talking to your buddy who's making the doc about you.
Yeah, Corey, yeah.
And he was talking to me, he asked me a question. He said, like, do you feel like Finn is this, like, what does he say about Canada or something like that? I said, there's never really been anyone like him because all the things that made him famous happened for the first time through him, which is streaming music and streaming TV.
Yeah.
But it's an incredibly proud, like, Canadian story. And I see you with the hat on right now.
The Victoria hat, yeah.
And I'm just, man, I don't know if I'm allowed to be proud of you because I don't know
are.
you that well.
That's really sweet.
But I feel a lot of pride for you.
Thanks, Tom.
And congrats on everything and congrats on the record.
Man. Yeah. Hell yeah.